Hello everyone, welcome back to another video around fundamentals of programming. Today we'll be talking about the concepts of aggregation and composition and what's the difference considering the Java programming language. So both aggregation and composition, they talk about containerization relationship where class A, like we have depicted here, is more of a container and it contains one to many instances of class B. So a key difference in between aggregation and composition is that in case of aggregation, your container can exist on its own and it doesn't have a direct dependency on the child attributes or the child objects which are part of that container. Whereas in case of composition, there is a strict dependency, and then the container cannot even exist without the creation or dependency or the existence of those child attributes which in this case is class B. So a good example of aggregation which we will cover as well through the coding would be, think about uh, a bag of ball. So in this case, a class A would be the class of bag, and then it can have different color balls. And if you think about that, the concept of class B being balls, and then class A being a bag, and then the bag A can have a list of or n number of balls. So a bag can exist on its own. It doesn't have need balls to exist as a bag. The example for composition would be, think about a library maybe. So a library can be considered as a class A as a container, but library on its own cannot exist without books. So it needs to have at least one book to be called as library. So class B is more about library, and then you need to have a book, at least one book in existence to call that class A being a library. So we will take those two examples and we'll show you from the code how does it look like and how and what's the difference in implementation. So let's jump into the Eclipse IDE environment. So what we will do here is we will create those respective classes first. So first we will create the classes for the composition. So the first class, like we discussed before, would be the library class. The second class here would be the class of books. Now let's create the classes for aggregation. So the container that we talked about was a bag, and then we would have a ball class. So as you can see, we have created all these four classes. Now to talk about containerization, we will first go into the bag class, and then the bag class can have its own set of attributes. Like the bag can have uh, its color, for example. It can have other attributes too, but the key one would be it would have a list of ball. Now the key thing would be a constructor for this one. And that's pretty much it. Now we can go to the library one and we can do the same thing. So as part of library, we can say the library would have an address, and then again the key thing would be the library would have the list of book. And now think about the constructor. So here is the constructor. Again, we have to import java.util. So we will import the java package here. Uh, so the key difference here, like I was talking about from a lifetime dependency here is since library cannot exist on its own without having books. So as part of the creation of library, we need to make sure that we have the books being supplied so that the library creation itself would have a dependency and it will automatically go and create books. So what we have to do for that is we need to make sure that when the library is being created, the the books object is supplied as an input. And then what we will do here is we will go and then associate that book object to the list that we have here. The next thing we need is more of the getter setters for this so that we can go and access them as well. So we just created the getter setter for the books. The same way, let's go back to the bag, and then we can create a getter setter for this too. Yeah. So now we can go back to our main class and we can talk about the actual magic and how it works. So if you see here, what we will do first is we will go and then create a list of ball. So let's first start with creating a list of balls. So we have created a list of ball. The same way I will create a list of books as well. Now one key thing here is when we create so now we will create a container, the bag container as part of the aggregation. So I will just say obj bag. So if you see here, as part of the creation of bag container, we haven't supplied balls. So the bag will be created first, and then later on, what we can do is we can go and then set the ball object by supplying the obj ball here. And then before doing this, we have to go and then make sure that we initialize that to here as well. But this is just to show you that how it will work. So this is basically something that is more from a aggregation perspective where you create your bag, then you actually go and then at any later point in time, you can go and then associate balls with that. Uh, so just to show you how to do it, it would be you will first have to go and then create a ball object. And then you can add this b1 to your obj uh, ball. B1. So this is how you're adding all of these ball objects to your container. And then if you also want to set some of the properties, you can also go and then use a getter and setter to set those properties as well. For time being, we are not doing any setting. We just wanted to show you the concept. So just like this one, if you want to add another ball here, you can add another ball with a different color here as well. And then you can just go and then add obj ball dot add p2. So this is pretty much it about the aggregation. If you see, it runs without any error, and this is how the setting has happened. Now, from a difference perspective, let me show you how it will work from a book and library perspective, and how the content, how the relationship uh, composition works compared to aggregation. So in this case, when I create uh, the class for library, I need to make sure that at the time of creation, I am supplying the list of books here. So this is basically the key difference which differentiate between composition and aggregation. So here, if you see, there's a lifetime dependency where the library cannot exist without the books being supplied and existing. So the creation of books is dependent on library, and library is dependent on the books in this case. So what you have to do first here is similar to what we did for the ball. We need to first create book object. So you can create multiple books here, and then you can add those books to the list that we had. And then you will supply this as an input to this one. So I think one thing what we can do here is we had this book class. So what we can do is just to show you guys a bit more detail of how it will work. We can add some attributes. So let's say we have the title of the book. We also have the author of the book. We can define those, and then we can create the getter setters for those. And those will be public. The same way I will do it for author. So now we have the getter setter for both of them. Now the other thing what we will do here is when we're creating these objects here in the main class, we'll go and then assign some values to them. So we created a book, and then we can just say book one dot uh, set author, and we can say ABC publisher. The same way we can say book one dot set title. Uh, it would be title one as an example. And the same thing I can do for book two. I can just say XYZ publisher title 2, and then these will be set here. So once this library is created, library will have these two books, a book with title 1 name and the title 2 name. And then if I have to go and verify, uh, I can just use uh, the getter method to go and then get that information. So in this case, what I can do here is I can just say obj dot get books dot for each, and then here what I can do is I can just go and then try to print these values here using a for each loop here. So what will happen here is I will just say system.out.println and dot get author. and then the title. So let's try to run this and see how does it look like. So see, this is how it works. Let me remove these spaces so that you don't see the indentation. Yeah. So here, if you see, as part of this composition example, when we created the library was created with these two books. And then what I did was when I looked through this library, I say, what books do you have? I read through all of those books, and I was able to find that the library contains these books. The same way, if I just to show you, if I add book three here, uh, along with setting those title, you will see book three here as well, being added to the library at time of creation. So this should be book three instead of book two. Yeah, so here we are. Let's see. So we have title. Uh, yeah, so actually we just, as part of copying, we did it wrongly. And now I think it should work as expected. Yeah, so here we are. The issue is resolved. It was basically the assignment issue. So we have book one, book two, and book three. And if you see now when we iterate through, the library has all these three books. And then for the ball and bag concept, there is no lifetime dependencies. This is maybe a key difference, and I have seen a lot of developers they don't understand the difference. I hope this example would have helped. I hope you like the video, and then do make sure to like and subscribe to our channel, and do share your thoughts in comments and any feedback. We'll see you some